get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah. I look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout. Take a look and see a beautiful morning that turns into a beautiful evening, and together make a beautiful life. And if you wanna,
I've been in here and people are roaring with laughter, so.
It's a dirty show, though.
Well, it's clean dirt.
Forgive me, but the best restaurants of the world are here in Vegas. I mean, you have here the best of the best.
Yes.
So we have many celebrities here. The Harley Madison come over here, and the Usher come over here many often, and the Paris Hilton come here, and Britney Spears came over here like 2 weeks ago.
Boy, I'm dating myself, but it's okay. Nobody else will.
Oh. That's so Vegas. Welcome to That's So Vegas. I'm Christine McKellar, your host here at the WCOBM studio right off of the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. I have a really wonderful guest here today, a bon vivant, a man of the world, Gene Ferrari. You're also known as, you say the last romantic?
Well, they gave me this title about the last of the romantics. I guess I'm a romantic.
You have an interesting background. I wanted to share some of that with our viewers because you're Sicilian-born, correct?
Yes.
However, which I find interesting, you were raised in Egypt?
Yes. My mom and dad left Sicily, and they went to Egypt, and he had 2 Fiat dealerships.
Nice.
And he did well until then. Egypt was a monarchy.
Correct.
But then Gamal Abdel Nasser overthrew the king, and then he nationalized the country, so we had to get out.
Oh, so you didn't really want to leave. It was a necessity thing.
My father wanted to stay because he was doing well, but then he would have had to become an Arab. Nothing wrong with being an Arab,
okay.
But he didn't want to. He was a true Sicilian, and so we went back to Italy.
That's great. And then you've toured all over Europe, and eventually you came to America.
Yes.
Was that a career choice to come here, or?
No, Christine, what happened? I always wanted to be an American. I always liked American movies. And then I was performing in a nightclub, and these 2 gentlemen that, I'm not being facetious with you, they looked like they had fallen off the pages of Mario Puzo.
Oh.
They looked like they were coming from Central Casting for The Godfather, and they asked me to come to America, and I said yes.
How old were you?
I was 23.
Oh, pretty young still. But
yes.
Yet again, that's kind of you've had a diverse, living in Egypt, and I understand you're fluent in 4 or 5 languages?
I'm fluent in 4 languages.
And you sing in those languages as well?
Yes, I do.
So, but those are the romance tongues. That would be what? The Italian,
French, English, and Spanish.
Oh, and Spanish as well. Yeah, there's something there, just the way the consonants and the vowels. A funny thing, when I was doing a little research on you, because I'm a good girl, I do my homework, you had made a comment on your webpage, which should be scrolling at the bottom of the screen, that you would watch Bonanza on TV to help you learn.
That's how I learned the language.
So
I sat and watched Bonanza for hours and hours, because you see, I wanted to be integrated into this society. I'm not judging other people, but a lot of my compatriots, somehow they are lost between 2 shores. Mm-hmm. You're either here or you go back.
I see.
If you come to this country, I believe we should learn the language and live the way we live here.
What an interesting introduction, though, because you also watch soap operas. So, you're getting all kinds of, like you said, the internal works, but then that, soap operas and Bonanza aren't real American life. So how did you adjust to that?
Well, I was always curious I always wanted to know pieces of Americana.
Uh-huh.
And in Italy, we really didn't have soap operas.
Oh.
It became more known in the late 70s,
Okay.
just like the telenovela in
Mexico.
Yeah.
I used to, when I was on a sailboat in Mexico, I used to watch those. It
Yeah.
was really interesting. And they also had and then in Hawaii, they had the Japanese
Sure.
soap operas. But again, that was all subtitled. Actually, there weren't even subtitles back then so much. So you literally were watching Haas and Adam and
Little Joe.
Little Joe.
I love this horse.
okay. You like horses?
Was a pretty horse, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I kind of remember.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really great. Well, thank you for taking the time to, become Americana. Speaking of which, you're going to be back here in March 26th at the Italian American Club, aren't you?
Yes, it's my second time. They've been very kind to me, and they seem to like what I do. And I always loved Vegas, always.
Yeah,
what's not to like?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. You first came here in the 70s, and you
Yeah.
played at
The old frontier.
Real Frontier. Were you an opening act, or were you?
No, I was in the lounge.
Oh, all the greats started there, in the lounges.
In the lounge.
Back in the day, Gladys
You know, in
Knight.
those days,
Yeah.
especially like mid 70s, late 70s, early 80s, the lounges were like mini showrooms.
I remember.
There was a curtain, there was a maitre d', there was a stage. And I know that maybe some people will disagree with me, but the days when the mob was in town, the town, I think, did well.
I think a lot of people would agree with you, believe it or not. A lot of us who've been around. Really, seriously, we agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and back in the lounge shows again, and Gladys Knight, Willie Nelson, everybody started in the lounges. It was a 2-drink cover.
Absolutely.
A cool thing, I think, with the Italian American Club is it's your show's at dinner and a show. Correct?
Yes, it is. It's an old-fashioned showroom,
Like it used to be.
like it used to be.
And you actually have dinner while you're entertaining.
Yes, and they have great food,
yes, they do. I've been there recently.
and you get seated, and
People
it's
dress to go out for a, nice dinner and
It's a class
entertainment.
act.
So, what is the name of your show that's coming up?
well, I still will go as the last of the romantics. But basically, if I were to put it in a synopsis for you, I pay tribute to the best singers of our time because I don't have hit records. In fact, I just want to say one thing. I don't know if you let me, but I appreciate you having me on the show because I know that you have sponsors and all of that. So I'm not a really known entity, and I appreciate you giving me the time.
Well, I knew of you, and we have mutual friends. And
Yes.
to me, I like the real inner what's really going on in Vegas because, and look at me, I'm a little tiny talk show, but the biggies are covering, the super rock stars, and I think I know my viewers love meeting people like you and being able to relate to you. Plus, you have so many attributes. You have a 2.5 octave range,
Yes.
which amazes me.
Some people, when you read their bylines and they tell you so-and-so has 5 octaves, that's a little bit of a pipe dream because 5 octaves, that means it's 40 notes of range.
Wow. I didn't even know there were 40 notes.
A piano has only 88. So that
Right.
means that person is singing half a piano. So I don't know about that, but I have 2.5 and I'm pretty happy with it.
I think I have 1, and I'm happy with that. I mean, if anything, I'm a frustrated singer, but truly I can't sing. Time's flying. We're going to be back. Please don't go away. We're going to take a little 5-minute commercial break, and Jean has so much more to talk about. I'm going to give a quick shot. I almost said a spot out. I'm going to give a shout out to my sponsor, the Red Roof Inn. It's on Paradise across from the Hard Rock Hotel. Don't go away, folks. Come back, and we're going to talk some more with Jean. See you in a minute.